Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. It's about 7 a.m. here on the East Coast, August 29th. I wanted to play you a quick clip from yesterday in my video. If you haven't seen it, Bitcoin boils the frogs. Please go watch it. Here's just a 5-second clip from it, okay? Explaining to you guys why I was shorting and then more than likely the prices were going to fall, all right?
Like I said, I'm shorting the market and I'm pretty sure these people are going to feel the pain very soon, okay?
As you can see, we mentioned that when the price of BTC was at 10,127. All right, that's the red marker right there. So I'm going to close out of this and I'm going to go back to our Advantage community. And you can see over here, I mentioned this was where my, this was my my short contract right here. Okay, opened it at 10,220. And my targets were about $9,700 or so. Okay, I closed at 9,800 because I couldn't catch the wick, but this was an easy 40% gain on the market. I was using 10x leverage. You know, guys, it was just, almost a gift. Okay, so if you got to catch that movement yesterday, you know, kudos to you. All right, and then this one, I was just trying to long the market because I thought that we would have a temporary bounce up, at least from over here, right here. But I wasn't risking that much, so I tried to long it twice and got denied both times. Once right there, and then the second time right there. So no worries. Right now, I am currently short again. I'm shorting from this level right here. I basically caught right near the top of this wick, about 94.65 or so. So I am currently short on the market again. I personally don't know if we're going to go down, but I figured that this would probably be statistically a better bet than going long. And the one reason I'm looking at that is we're well below the all the trend line supports that we had, the white trend lines, as you can see, that go up. So I feel like, you know, with this sort of waterfall effect, more often than not with Bitcoin, you see at least, you know, 3 waves down with this waterfall effect. So what I mean by that is it goes like this, okay? Often, so this is 1, this is 2, and then typically we see another drop off, like 3. Okay, and that's really the final one. And this is just something that I've noticed on, you know, at least like 1 and 4 hour time frames when the market is really dropping off, okay? I would say this is, you know, one of the examples, right? So here's sort of that 1 right there, 2, and then 3, right? I guess you could say that why can't this be the one? But again, it's really just how you measure it. For the most part, this was too short. I think this was long enough. And then, you know, this right here, and then this right here, right? All right, so anyway, going back to the Bitcoin analysis yesterday, I also did state in my Advantage community that if, where was it? I think it was over here. If price of Bitcoin did break this marker right here, more than likely it's probably going to go to this one, okay? So you could see that price is really wanting to stay above this marker. Why? Because for the most part, a lot of people would have placed their stops just under here, all right? If they were longing like myself, and these people would get stopped out like this, okay? Prices would tank down and then push back up if you know the price is really supposed to go back up. But again, with the momentum, the sell side momentum so high, the volume really kicking into gear yesterday, right? This was significantly high volume right here, this candle right here, and the candle spread was also just really big. You can see this is a massive, you know, candle. Okay, so this tells me that there is clearly a lot of sellers who just decide to really just dump on the market. And this again goes back to the conversation that I had yesterday about the anxieties and fears associated with the markets, you know, with the financial markets that are surrounding crypto, such as the bond markets that are going through the inverted yield process, the equities markets around the world that are really just slowing down and taking money off the table. So I think there's just in the China and U.S. Trade war, I think there's just a lot of, you know, sort of uncertainty and fear. And I think Bitcoin is not going to be immune to that. Okay, I still do believe that. So we'll see. You know, I could be wrong. Who knows? We might take off for Bitcoin till 12,000 or 13,000 tomorrow. But so far we've been right. Right. All right. So on the 4 hour chart, I'm sorry, on the daily chart, you can see the volume did step up right here, okay? The sell side volume did step up. So I could see that this final candle right here, this volume bar, it could be a pretty high one and it could take us, down a bit further. But the things in the way right now are this, okay? These bottoms that were placed, they were held right around $9,400 or about $9,500. That little range, $9,400 to $9,475, and that's exactly where we are. So I would not be surprised if we did sort of bounce here and come back up. Okay, so even in my short position that I got in around 94.65 or so, I'm gonna just sort of place my stop, just above here. Okay, 96.46. So just about $100-$150 above it. I guess you could also place your stop just above this candle right here too if you want to be a little bit tighter on your stop. But for the most part, I do think that there's going to be at least a little bit more downside before more upside. Okay, so do keep that in mind. Again, I did mention this yesterday. The volume is stepping up right here. I mean, overall, the volume is going down, so I guess that is a good thing. But the fact that the volume is going down and prices still keep going down, at some point that will turn bullish, because that's really the interpretation. If volume is going down and price is going down, eventually that means that we're going to be coming to an end of the sell side volume, and the buy side volume is going to step up and push the prices up. But that clearly hasn't happened yet, because we're trying to figure out exactly where is this new fresh demand. And fresh demand can't be over here, right? Because this zone has already been tapped multiple times, once, twice, 3 times again. So fresh demand has to be a little bit deeper. And this is why I personally think that prices could go a bit lower, especially on the daily chart, before they go higher. Okay, on the smaller time frames, I'm sure we can bounce around on the smaller time frames, like kind of like this. We're over here, we'll go sideways, up a little bit, down a little bit, and maybe push back up and then pull back down. Again, on 30-minute candles, it's really hard to say exactly what kind of movement we'll have. But the larger structure at play is this is the big low lower high right here that we have to break above to be convinced that, okay, we can keep on going up like this. Until then, I mean, you have to follow the trend right now, which is overall we're going down, right? All right, I do want to keep this analysis short. So here's another thing that I wanted to mention on the daily. Okay, remember that I said that on the daily chart, the 41-point level, okay, was a very critical level. It goes back all the way to January 2019, and even over here we've touched it multiple times, right? It's held as support. Now that it's breaking down, things are going to get really scary, okay? Because I personally think that we might go into that oversold level on the daily. And I think that oversold level, last time we were in oversold was here in December 2018. And that's where, Bitcoin sort of bottomed at, where was it, $3,100 or so. And I think we're not too far away. We're already at, 37.5 points. So another, say, 5 or 7% drop should bring prices of Bitcoin, no lower than, I would say, $8,500 to $8,700. But if we're supposed to go even deeper, well, what could happen is we can go like this, pull back up, and then pull back down a little bit more. Typically when this movement right here happens, it creates another lower high in price, and this right here, even if it's not going too much deeper in the RSI, it creates a significantly lower low. Okay, so meaning that prices could skyrocket down to 7,000, 7,200, wick down like really hard. Kind of like these wicks right here. You can see the candle body close much higher, but the wicks dug down almost $1,000 deeper. Okay, so that oftentimes does happen with the RSI, when you correspond it to price. All right, on the weekly chart, you can see that we're sort of just bouncing back up just a little bit, bouncing down just a little bit past this, symmetrical triangle, bull flag, bull pennant, whatever you want to call it. We do have, another 3 days left. So who knows, we might close inside of it, and then the next week we might, try to reach the top of this. I'm personally doubt it because I think it's really hard to break down past this, and then skyrocket back up. Remember that price always tries to find sort of the easiest path, the least resistance, path to least resistance. Sorry, I can't speak right now. It's morning time. And so in this case, the path to least resistance is sort of this right here, lower lows right here and lower highs right here. Okay, so it's really just easier for a price to sort of keep going down. All right, and you can see again, this is something that I mentioned on the MACD. The weekly chart has already made that bearish cross. Again, I'm not saying that we have to go to 5,000, 4,000, 3,000 or anything ridiculous like that. I'm just saying that the kind of false exuberance that I saw yesterday when I was doing research on Twitter and Reddit and all these, even some people that I thought were kind of smart, they kept saying that there's no way we're going to have 4-digit Bitcoin again, or that we can't possibly go to 8,500. They said that 10,000 will not break. We're definitely going to go back up. This is the kind of stuff that I really dislike, because any true technician and any true analyst will know that you have to stay on the fence, right? Staying on the fence allows you to see both sides and exactly how the market's looking, and it just gives you a better objective view. You don't get married to any one direction. And the fact that these people were married to a direction honestly made me bet against them, because I knew for the most part that when people like that are too hell-bent in one position, they're oftentimes going to get proven wrong. Okay, so for the most part, like I said, we shorted right here. You can go watch my video from yesterday. Do join Cryptosomniac community, folks. Tons of trades, tons of information. Again, not financial advice, but we do provide an awful lot of good information, good communication with the community. We have our other analyst, Jordan, who's pretty much up the other part of the day that I'm sleeping in, and we cater to people from all different parts of the world, and that really helps our audience here, right? Anyway, folks, I hope that helps. This was just a quick analysis. Like I said, I do think that we're going to break down a little bit further. This parallel channel I was watching right here, we did break out of that. I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of just go like this, hit this as resistance, and then come back down again. But we'll have to see. I don't quite like these candles like digging up higher and higher past this previous high. But we'll see. I'm currently at a slight loss. I'll probably have to see if I want to stop out of my position manually or if I want to add on to my short. Again, if you do come join Cryptosomniac, you'll know exactly what I'm doing. All right. Thank you. Take care and cheers.